In tonight's episode of the Politics of Religion, the Bible strikes again. It turns out there is no better way for a pastor to get kicked out of the inauguration ceremony, no better way to do that than quoting the Bible. That's what Louis Giglio of Passion City Church in Atlanta did to get knocked out of this year's inauguration. His participation was announced at 9 a.m. on Tuesday by the Presidential Inaugural Committee. It took all of a day for something to surface in Giglio's sermonizing past that made him persona non grata at the swearing in of a president who is in favor of gay rights, including marriage equality. Josh Israel, senior investigative reporter for Think Progress, posted this story yesterday that forced Giglio to withdraw today. With it, Josh posted a transcript of a 15-year-old sermon that emphasized Giglio's, quote, rabidly anti-LGBT views, including this tidbit about the gay rights movement.
That movement is not a benevolent movement, but it is a movement to seize by any means necessary the feeling and the mood of the day, to the point where the homosexual lifestyle becomes accepted as a norm in our society and is given full standing as any other lifestyle as it relates to family.
Of course, Giglio is wrong about actually half wrong. He says the movement is not a benevolent movement, and that is simply not true. It is a movement filled with and about benevolence. But the rest of what he says is actually true. It is a movement to seize by any means necessary the feelings and the mood of the day to the point where the homosexual lifestyle becomes accepted as a norm in our society and is given full standing as any other lifestyle as it relates to family. The by any means necessary bit is a little rhetorically over the top, but yes, we do want to create the feeling that the gay lifestyle is an acceptable norm in our society and is given full standing as any other lifestyle. That is exactly what the gay rights movement wants and what it has been successfully on its way to achieving for years now. Here's some more of what Giglio got caught saying that got him kicked out of the inauguration.
If you look at the counsel of the Word of God, Old Testament, New Testament, you come quickly to the conclusion that homosexuality is not an alternate lifestyle. Homosexuality is not just a sexual preference. Homosexuality is not gay, but homosexuality is sin. It is sin in the eyes of God. And it is sin according to the Word of God.
And there you have a classic Washington gaffe. Now, I know some of you are saying, no, that's way worse than a gaffe. That is a terrible and hurtful and hateful thing to say. But this program uses the definition of Washington gaffe written by the brilliant Michael Kinsley nearly 30 years ago. The Kinsley definition of a Washington gaffe is not when someone lies, but when someone tells the truth. And the truth is that homosexuality is a sin in the Bible. In his sermon, Giglio quotes Leviticus chapter 18, verse 22. You shall not lie with a male as one lies with a female. It is an abomination. Giglio also cited the New Testament, 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verses 9 and 10, which presents a list of immoral behaviors.
And right in the midst of that passage, right in the midst of that verse, it says, and those who are homosexual. It's clear.
Now, I heard that, and I didn't think the word homosexual appeared in the Bible. And so I checked it today. Where he says the word homosexual, the Bible actually uses the word effeminate. Now, it turns out there are some very new versions of the Bible that do use the word homosexual now instead of effeminate. So the Bible, which is supposed to be the unchangeable Word of God, hasn't been absolutely unchangeable by haters of gay people who are unsatisfied that God never chose the word homosexual to specifically condemn homosexuals. Poor Addie Wisenant, the spokesperson for the Presidential Inaugural Committee, was forced to put out this utterly ridiculous statement today. We were not aware of Pastor Giglio's past comments at the time of his selection, and they don't reflect our desire to celebrate the strength and diversity of our country at this inaugural. As we now work to select someone to deliver the benediction, we will ensure their beliefs reflect this administration's vision of inclusion and acceptance for all Americans, and not the Bible's. In other words, we will ensure that whoever delivers the benediction rejects the same parts of the Bible that President Obama rejects and most Democrats reject, even though every word of the Bible is the Word of God. As I've pointed out in many previous episodes of The Politics of Religion, no one accepts all of the teaching of the Bible. No one. There are no literal followers of the Word of God as presented in the Bible left on earth. If there were any, they would have to be burning people at the stake all day, every day. For example, the Bible orders that prostitutes be burned at the stake. The Bible orders that the penalty for adultery is death. The Bible orders that the penalty for not observing the Sabbath is death. The Bible has more death penalties in it than Texas law. And there is no Bible-thumping church in the world that follows the Word of God on all those death penalties. Not one. Still, the president, following one of our most absurdist traditions in the government that invented the separation of church and state, will put his hand on this book, filled with things he does not believe, filled with things that no one in the United States of America believes. And with his hand on this book, he will recite the oath of office. And his hand on this book is actually supposed to make you believe that he really believes what he is saying in the oath of office, even though the book is filled with things that you and he do not believe. Now, wouldn't it be better if the president's hand was on the shoulder of one of his daughters, suggesting that he was honoring the oath of office as much as he honors Sasha and Malia? This time, as it was last time, for the first time in history, the book will be held by a first lady who is a descendant of slaves. But the holy book she will be holding does not contain one word of God condemning slavery. But that same book, which spends hundreds and hundreds of pages condemning all sorts of things, and couldn't find one sentence in here to condemn slavery, does indeed manage to find the space repeatedly to condemn gay people, as the now banished Louis Giglio says it does. And as the First Lady is holding that book for the president, sitting somewhere near them will be a pastor who the Inauguration Committee will make sure is much more adept at hiding what that book actually says than Louis Giglio was.